Hey guys, we just passed $70,000 sold on Mercari, so we thought today would be a good day to make a video about how to sell more on Mercari. Let's go.
Alright guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Rnzy.
We are a husband and wife team, and together we are Rnzy. We are full-time shoe resellers. What that means is we make all of our income buying and selling shoes for profit on multiple marketplaces. As Rnzy said, we're talking about Mercari today because we just passed $70,000 in sales, and we've actually had $20,000 in sales on Mercari in the last 151 days. It's a perfect time to talk about how we are winning on Mercari. In this video, specifically, we're gonna talk about sourcing. We're gonna talk about listing. We're gonna talk about shipping. We're gonna talk about customer service. We're gonna talk about staying active in your listings. And at the end, we're actually gonna go through our completed sales and see some of the brands that are selling for us on Mercari for $40 or more. Let's dive in. All right, let's dive right in. The first thing that we wanna talk about is sourcing. The reason that we are seeing tremendous amount of success on Mercari is because we are respecting the market value of the shoes that we're trying to flip on Mercari. And what we mean by that is before we actually buy inventory, before we buy shoes to sell on Mercari, we look up the comps or the completed sales, what they're selling for on Mercari. There's a different value for the same pair of shoes on different marketplaces. So if your focus is to find success on Mercari, you have to respect what people are paying for those shoes. So while we are in store, before we actually spend money on a pair of shoes, we're jumping onto the app and we're searching completed listings. Let's show you what we're talking about. So we open up the Mercari app, we're in our account right here, and at the very top, you can see where it says search for anything. Now, let's, give me a random pair of shoes. Like a Nike, just because that's a more common brand. Let's look up Nike Air Max. So now, yes, there is lots of different styles, there's lots of different kinds of Air Max, but this is generally to show you how you're gonna be looking up the comps or the completed sales, AKA the market value of the shoes. So while we're in store, if we come across some Air Max, we hit search in the search bar. Now, using the filters up on top first, you wanna see where it says for sale. So you wanna click on that. That's gonna show you all the pairs that are currently for sale. Then right next to that is where you click on sold. Now this is super important to know the difference. People can ask whatever they want for a pair of shoes, but only when you look under the sold listings are you gonna see what people are willing to pay for those shoes. So now that we've clicked on sold under Nike Air Max, again in the top right, if you wanna get even stricter with looking up the market value, you can click on filter, and then you can look up by size, you can look up by condition, by color, all things of that nature. But the first thing we want to look at, this is all conditions, all colors, all different sizes, is the fact that you have a pair that sold for 100 right next to a pair that sold for 21. On the other side of that, there's a pair that sold for 23, and then the next column down, you've got 84, 90, 70, 40, 45, 62. There's a whole different range of sold listings, so it can be kind of confusing. Again, this is where the filters come into play. So let's say you went to the outlets and you are looking at what a pair of brand new Nike Air Max would sell for. This is where you hit the condition, and then you want to hit new and like new and apply. And then as you can see, the prices have gone up a little bit. You still have that $100 pair, you've got 84, 90. I just noticed, keep in mind, it looks like someone had classified a pair of Nike Shox actually as Nike Air Max, because we're obviously looking for Nike Air Max. So you want to keep that you want to take that into account as well. That's that 84 free shipping listing that sold, and then next to it, $90, 70, 45. So you can see that brand new Nike Air Max are obviously selling for a little bit more. And then if we wanted to check out, we uncheck new and like new, and maybe we look at good and fair, and then the prices are a little bit less for used pair of Nike Air Max. Now again, This is just the general way that you can look up the comps, and how you read those comps and those completed sales is up to you. A little bit of bonus content here, things to keep in mind. Sometimes there are trades that happen on Mercari, and what we mean by that is one person reaches out and says, hey, I'll trade you this pair of shoes for that pair of shoes. And what they do to complete that trade is they drop the price of their listing really, really, really low. Both people do that, then they purchase the listing from each other. So they're basically just trading $10, or they're trading $3, or they're trading $20, however that may be. That will affect when you're looking at completed sales. So you might say, hey, these are selling for $100, but they're also selling for $3. How does that make sense? That is an instance where that may happen. Also, if sellers are not taking high quality photos, if they're not being responsive in their listings, which we'll talk about a little bit later, they'll have trouble selling their inventory, so they'll drop the price, they'll drop the price, they'll drop the price, sometimes to the point where they're not going to be making any money just to move the inventory. So you want to take that into account. You do increase the value of your inventory, of your pairs, by doing what we're going to be talking about very shortly, taking well-lit photos, thorough descriptions, things of that nature. But this is what you want to be doing while you are in store. So let's say we did come across a pair of Nike Air Max. Let's say I'm going to flip it back over to brand new. Say we got them at the outlets and we're comfortable. Let's say we're on a sale day at the outlet and we got the pair for under $30. We're seeing that they're selling for $100, $90, $80. Again, you can get stricter and look up the exact pair, but we're just using general guidelines for this example, $160. You know that Mercari charges 10% for those fees, so you have to keep that in mind when you're deciding whether they're going to be profitable or not. Also, we're going to talk about very shortly, we offer free shipping in all of our listings. We're going to talk about why we do that. And you have to take that into consideration. So when looking up completed sales, when deciding whether a shoe is profitable or not on Mercari, you have to take into account all the things that we've just talked about. What are they actually selling for? What are the fees on Mercari? Are you going to be offering free shipping? That all goes into consideration whether or not they're going to be profitable or not.
All right, so now that you have the pair of shoes that you have sourced from wherever you sourced them from, an outlet, a thrift store, whatever it is, now we are going to show you how we list our shoes on Mercari. So let's go into our current listings. We'll just look at this pair of Keen sneakers. And as you can see, the first thing is your photos. So we want to make sure that we take our own well-lit photos. We don't use any stock photos. We want the buyer to know exactly what they're going to purchasing, especially with our used pairs. If there's any type of imperfection or use or anything, we want the buyer to know exactly what it looks like. So as you can see, these are the 8 angles that we use when photographing shoes. We'll run through them right here, facing to the right, toes, other side. We want to make sure we get the back heel, a top-down view so the buyer can see the insoles. We do an inside shot because we don't want to miss out on that, the tread, and also we put the size tag so the buyer knows the exact size and can also compare like the Euro sizing or the UK size or whatever to any shoes that they have. The next thing, once you have all of your photos, and you can use whatever angles you want, those are just the 8 that we have found to work really well because it shows all of the angles of the shoes. The next thing is your title. You only have 40 characters on Mercari, so you want to keep it pretty concise and also descriptive. So usually we just put the brand, the model, and then usually on Mercari we also, if we have room, we'll put the color because we find some people search the color. And also when you, a little bit further down in the listing, I'll show you, when you select the color from the choices, that's not visible to the buyer, but we'll go in that later. So the next thing is your description. We keep that super concise as well. We basically just say the condition, whether it's gently used, no rips or tears, smoke-free, whether it has a box or not, and then we make sure we say that we ship out immediately, which we'll talk about shipping next, and then also the size, our inventory number, and that's pretty much. We also remind people to follow us because we post a lot, and so people will get alerted if they follow you of any time you list. So it's nice to have people following and getting alerted every time that you list your items. On Mercari, it's a little different than some of the other platforms because there's this section for hashtags, and that can be things that people are searching in the bar for. So sometimes it's like running or sneakers or hiking or the brand. So kind of work with whatever the actual item is or the shoes that you're listing and create you're limited to 3 hashtags relating to that individual pair of shoes. Then it's simply filling out the details, which you're just choosing from lists of the style or the category. So these are men's athletics shoes. And just use your best judgment with what category, like if it's fashion sneakers or athletic, depending on what type of shoes you're listing. Then it's just the brand, the condition, which we, base it, if it's never been worn, then it's new or like new, and then good, fair, poor, etc. Then you're picking the size and the color. And this is what I was talking about. This color, the buyer cannot actually see this color. It's only if they toggle the color choice when they're searching. So you want to make sure you're picking the correct color, but that's why we usually include it in the title, is so the buyer can also not only see with their eyes with the photos what the color is, but are reading the color as well. So there's no confusion if they're gray or they're brown or green or whatever. So you want to make sure somewhere you've written the color as well, whether it's in your description or your title. And as Ryan said, we offer free shipping on all of our Mercari orders. We found that a lot of buyers will select that as a filter when they're searching for inventory. So we found that free shipping works well for us. That's our personal preference, and we always do USPS by weight because we get our boxes for free shipped to us from USPS. And then you're just setting your price. And obviously you're basing that on what you've already found out as far as completed sales based on the condition of that individual pair. And you're taking into account, it says right here, if you price it at $49 with the seller fee, which it shows you right there, with the free shipping, which we're offering, then you'll earn $33.13. There's also an option for smart pricing, which we generally do not do because we found that it drops the price a little too quickly for us. But you can enable it if you want, and then you put a lower price and it'll automatically drop the price every now and again. But that's up to you guys, and you can mess around with it. We've decided that it doesn't really work well for us. But there you go. Then you're just listing.
All right, so we've talked about sourcing with respect to the market value on Mercari. We've talked about listing on Mercari. Now we're going to talk about shipping and customer service. It's super important when someone buys a pair of shoes from you to ship as rapidly as possible. The reason that we've gotten a tremendous amount of 5-star reviews and had repeat customers is because as soon as something sells on Mercari, we ship as fast as possible. Most of the time it's same day. Obviously, if the pair is sold in the evening or overnight, we ship first thing in the morning. When people spend their hard-earned money buying a pair of shoes, they want their product as quickly as possible. We live in a world where everything is so quick, so you will excel. You will see an increase in sales. You will see an increase in repeat customers if you ship rapidly.
And as far as customer service, having great customer service, obviously shipping really quickly is a big part of that. Also, making sure that you're preparing your orders really well. So we bubble wrap every pair. We put a handwritten thank you note that's personalized, for each buyer right in there, just kind of going above and beyond with a thank you sticker. All that stuff just shows a little bit of more of a connection to your buyer. The other thing is that we're really quick with our responses on Mercari. So if anyone reaches out, asking if an item's still available, or is the price negotiable, or are they true to size, we try to within, minutes, maybe even seconds sometimes, respond back to them so that they know that we are very active and responsive and we respect their time and their purchases.
And one thing that we've learned over time when it comes to customer service is having responses ready to go. It helps when you're tired or maybe you're not in the best mood possible and someone is asking a tremendous amount of questions. Mercari does offer automated responses to some of the most common questions that are asked. Like Lindsay said, sometimes someone will say, are these still available? And you can click a button when you go into that conversation that just says, yes, it's still available. And there's a few other automated responses. We learned how appropriate and how well that works. So we actually have copy and pasted responses. For example, when someone's reaching out and asking if we'll drop the price, or if we'll go any lower, or if we'll take X amount on a pair of shoes, we always respond with, thank you so much for your offer. We're always interested in reasonable offers. Feel free to use the offer tool when you're ready to purchase. That gets rid of a lot of the riffraff that comes in, but it also keeps your sanity. Customer service is super, super important, so you want to have these responses ready, and like Lindsay said, be responding as quickly as possible.
The other thing is you want to be super respectful, but if someone is not being the same to you, Mercari is a great feature where you can block any other users. So don't be afraid to use that if someone is reaching out in a way that doesn't align with you or your business, or isn't just isn't a quality interaction. Feel free to use that tool as well.
She couldn't be more right. You do not need to sell to every buyer on Mercari. If they're not treating you with respect, block them, get them out of your world. You'll never hear from them ever again. And we rest assured, there will be someone else that will come along and be interested in your shoes.
So we also want to talk about staying active with your listings on Mercari. One of the biggest ways to do that is to use the promote option that Mercari provides. So if you go into your listings, your active listings, you'll see the promote button, which is right to the left of all of the edit buttons below your listings. So we'll find a pair, we listed it. It looks like maybe like a week ago. It has 7 likes already. So I'll show you guys how to promote just to keep it active within the system so it doesn't like drop to low. So if you click promote, you have 2 options through Mercari. One is you can promote to everyone, which drops your price across the board on the platform. Now your price is always going to be that low unless you raise it or drop it again. Your other option is to promote to likers only. This option sends a discounted offer to those 7 people that have liked it, but doesn't drop your price for the listing in general. So we like to do the promote to likers before anything else, before any type of price drop or anything like that. So we'll click promote to likers. And when you're listing, make sure that you're leaving room to negotiate when you're putting that listing price. So we listed these at $49. So we left a little bit of room. So what you can do is you have to drop your price by at least 10%. So 10%, that'd be about $5. So we'll drop it to $44. And you can see that's going to be sent to all these people. And it gives you what now you'll earn. Mercari is really good about giving you ahead of time the exact amount that you're going to get back after the fees, the shipping, the promotion, all of that. So we're still happy getting $28.63 back on this pair. So we'll send this offer. And as you can see, the offer was sent to 7 likers, and it expires within 24 hours, so it gives a little bit of sense of urgency to those people that have liked the pair. The other thing is you want to make sure that we like to never have a death pile, so we're listing fairly often. We usually, whenever we have pairs to list, we list, and that'll also refresh your listings in general, so people will see a new listing of yours and then head back into your Mercari page and see what else you have.
All right, so the last thing that we want to do is to run through some of our completed listings so you can see exactly the brands and the styles that are selling well for us on Mercari. Let's jump into our completed listings. So as you can see right off the top, we sold a pair of Johnston and Murphy monk strap dress shoes. We're gonna just scroll down. A brand new pair that we got from the outlet, these Nike Epic Reacts, clogs with a K. It's always crucial when it comes to clogs, Danskos, Sanitas, that we source slip resistant. That's a big bonus feature. And again, all of these pairs have sold for more than $40 on Mercari. Hoka is a phenomenal brand. We sell a ton of Skechers shape-ups as we're continuing to go down the list. Couple pairs of Nike. Vionic is a phenomenal brand. Keep an eye out for Vionic in the thrifts. Some more Nike. Work Wonders by Dansko. Dansko is another phenomenal brand. LL Bean is our #2 selling brand behind Nike. Merrell, some more Nike. Patagonia obviously is a phenomenal brand. We don't find as much Patagonia footwear, but when we do find it, it sells really quickly. Some Nike, Adidas. Teva is another phenomenal brand. Crockett & Jones is a high-end brand of men's dress shoes and dress boots that we've most recently added to our sourcing strategy. And this pair of Crockett & Jones sold for $160 on Mercari. Some more Nike. Cole Haan, phenomenal brand, sells well for us on multiple marketplaces, including Mercari. Asics, we sell a ton of Asics. They're in our top 5. Brooks is in our top 10. We got a bunch of Nike, Dansko, Solomon, more Dansko. Noble, again, we don't find a lot of this brand, Noble. It's obviously an athletic shoe similar to some of the CrossFit brands. The majority of the inventory we find of Noble is for people who are into CrossFit. We've sold some cowboy boots. Saucony's in our top 10. Again, the brands that are normal when people think of name brand have been selling well for us. Newton is a brand that sells well for us. Wolverine, again, Nike, Puma, Merrell, Skechers. You're gonna see Heelys. Whenever we find Heelys, as long as they come with the wheels, those are the shoes that have the wheels on the bottom. We've found adult and youth versions and they sell well for us. The North Face, again, here's another pair of Vionic, Dansko, Nike, Uggs obviously sell really well. With all of these, if you're sourcing used pairs, you want to make sure they're in great condition, obviously, but we want to reiterate that. You want to make sure they have their original insoles, there's no funky smell, no rips or tears, and they still have plenty of tread left on the bottom. As you guys can see, Nike is a brand that sells well for us. AHNU is another brand. Muck Boot, some more Hoka's, Birkenstocks, another pair of Noble, Nike, Under Armour, Merrell, New Balance. So this is just from our sold listings, and we are one of millions of sellers on Mercari. So the more research that you do, the better eyes you're gonna have when you're going out and sourcing, whether it's new or used. And again, if you run through all the things that we've just talked about, this isn't hypothesis, this isn't made up, we're not just guessing on what works. This is what has gotten us to over $70,000 in sales on Mercari, and more specifically $20,000 in sales in the last 151 days. All right, that's what we got for you guys today.
If you have any questions, make sure you jump into the comments below.
And until the next video, we hope you enjoy each and every single step.